are in listen-only mode.
Good evening, everyone. This is George Veronis from normally Lancaster, Pennsylvania, but I'm still in Los Angeles, California, enjoying the 80-degree weather that they're having and meeting a lot of great people about the BEMER business. So I want to thank everybody for being on this call tonight, and I just want to do a quick check as we get started. A few people could just type in that you can see the screen and hear my voice well. I'll get started. Give me one. Okay. Okay, so thanks. Appreciate it, everybody. So anyway, tonight, I want you to sit back and relax and enjoy this presentation. It's going to be about 45 to 50 minutes where we cover an incredible company out of Liechtenstein in Europe that's done an amazing medical technology that they've introduced. Secondly, you'll hear about this product, and Yusuf, our guest speaker tonight, will give you a lot of detail so you really understand what we have, and at the end of it, you should be in a position saying, hey, you really want to learn more about it, or you don't want to know more about it throughout the process, and getting back to the person that got you on this call. And then right at the end, we're going to also go through a little bit of our opportunity, because we are looking for partners to grow in the United States, which I'll explain to you more following Yusuf's presentation. So look forward to a lot of great stuff on this call. But right now, I want to present this evening Yusuf Ben Lusif, who's from Chicago, a very good friend of mine and also a partner in the business. And he's a co-founder of Tobias Healing Institute, a 17-year-old holistic medical practice specializing in chronic diseases. He has a partner, Dr. Tobias, who's a medical doctor internist, and he's been using the BEMER in their practice for about 8 months now with just incredible and amazing results. And Yusuf was a great sounding board for me before I looked into this product for my own self. I'd open heart surgery about a year and a half ago with 8 bypasses, and I was struggling to recover from that with lack of energy and some other issues. And after Yusuf analyzed and looked at the BEMER technology, I purchased one, used it, and I could tell you I have incredible energy. I feel great. I jump rope 30 minutes a day. I travel around the country, and it's probably the best decision I've made in my life. I got so passionate about it, I decided to share it with people all across the country. So tonight, Yusuf, we're fortunate to have you on the call and really appreciate your time away from your busy schedule. And I'll turn it over to you to share with us the BEMER and the technology and the company. Go ahead, Yusuf.
Thank you, George. Thank you for inviting me, and thank you for giving me time on this platform. More importantly, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, distributors, but more importantly, good evening, you, the guest. Because if this is for the first time you're going to be exposed to BEMER technology, you are in for a treat. And I mean every single word in that, because it's a holistic device and you're going to love it. It's definitely a bright technology. This is a bioenergy device, and it makes such a perfect sense that you would wonder why it took so long to be invented, to be created, right? You're going to discover this evening in the next few slides, in the next few minutes that will ensue, a technology that can actually affect your wellness as you know it. It is actually real life insurance. When you really start understanding what it does for you and the confinement of your own home, all the benefits, how easy to use, and so on. But more importantly, all the clinical results that you're going to get, the positive clinical results you're going to get, and it makes perfect sense. So it is BEMER, and all it takes is only 8 minutes twice per day. And that's one of the first beauty that really attracted me to it. And we use it here in the clinic as an adjunctive therapy to many other therapies that we offer to our patient. But when you talk about within the context of usage in your own home, because it's designed really more so for the home user than for the clinic. The simplicity of it, using it 8 minutes twice a day, less time than it takes to drink really a cup of coffee or a cup of tea. And so that is very exciting in it and by itself. So your benefits, let's start this for right off the top. What do you expect with this technology? General blood flow, nutrition, oxygen supply, sleep management, waste disposal. As you read on the list, folks, it becomes very clear that 90% of the population out there want every single bit of those lines that in front of you. Physical fitness, clearly. How about sleep management, concentration? And before we get into the feature advantage and benefits of this technology, it behooves us to find out a little bit what the world is all about. And when we talk about the world, forget about the world at large. America, in our home country. And there is a great book that really deciphers the code and talks about why we are such leading out there the charge in terms of spending for healthcare, but we're not getting the results we are seeking. Something is not adding up. Something is crazy. As a matter of fact, in this book, Our Daily Meds by Melody Patterson, it's a phenomenal read. As I mentioned, I read it about 10 years ago, and it talks about how the pharmaceutical companies transformed themselves into slick marketing machines and hooked the nation on prescription drugs. Here's an excerpt right out of that book. Americans spend more on medicine than do all of the people of Japan, Germany, France, Italy, Spain, United Kingdom, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, Mexico, Brazil, and Argentina combined. That combined should be bold in red. Gives me a goosebump every time I read this. It's absolutely ridiculous to spend that kind of money. And yet, how are we doing in terms of health? Well, we're doing very poor. The World Health Organization classified us in wellness 42 out of 200 or some countries. Imagine that we're in a pack. In some cases, some developing nations are doing much better than us and not spending any money. We're spending more of these countries combined, but we're not doing well. And to that point, I'm going to share with you few trends that are absolutely phenomenal. These are the challenge of chronic illness. It starts with obesity trends, and obesity going to move to morbid obesity. Morbid obesity is the cousin of what? Diabetes, hypertension, cardiovascular disease, erectile dysfunction. The list goes on to what now it's so-called the metabolic syndrome X. I believe in trends. I believe in statistics because these are hard facts that no one can refute. I believe in those because it's a little bit like your child sending it to school. At the end of the couple months after the test and so on, after the term, you get the scorecard, how your child is actually doing in school. Well, here's the scorecard of America, and it will look like a tumor that is growing in our body and devastating our body. So in 1985, you could see the majority of the states, there were less than 15%, in some cases less than 10%, or no data was available when it comes to obesity. I know I'm taking you very far in that history lane, right? But look what happened, guys. This is 85, 1986, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91. The colors are getting darker. That means it's getting worse. 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 2000. Amazing. Keep on watching. 2001, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 2010. What happened to us in that mere 25 years? We went from a non-obese, fit, relatively fit nation all the way to chronically ill. Because again, that obesity, when you get it at 25 percentile and beyond as a median of the population, you know that you have a problem on your hand. These stats, by the way, it's coming from the CDC, the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention. I always laugh at the word prevention from that agency. But nonetheless, these are statistics, folks, that no one can refute. So the challenge of chronic illness, by the way, is not just in the US, it's becoming a global phenomenon. As more countries becoming more opulent and affluent, more people having more money, more mobility, eating outside, the lifestyle and environment and the stresses of life start developing diseases that are here in terms of pandemic. And we're talking in here in the case of diabetes, the prevalence estimates of diabetes by 2025 is out of control. It is so much so that just in the US alone, the challenge of chronic illness, the cost of treating diabetes and obesity by 2035, a mere 19 years from now, it will equate dollar for what we spent for the whole entire healthcare cost of last year. Crazy statement, isn't it? But these are, again, these are stats. In other words, if you don't believe it, just stay in the sideline and watch things weather away. This is, by the way, a crisis on our hand. It ought to be a national security concern. But obviously, we are going after the wrong philosophy, access to health. We are paying attention more to symptomatic management of diseases than going to the root cause of it. And so, if we don't do nothing about it, it's going to bankrupt our country, but more importantly, it's going to claim the lives of our loved ones, the people that we love and we care about, the brothers, the sister, the uncles, the aunt, mom, dad, grandpa, grandma, our children today. Young kids are type 2 diabetes, and there are 30% in the United States that are walking diabetic without being told that they are diabetics. So there is a failure of the healthcare system to even address a simple test like a hemoglobin A1C. And that's another conversation by itself. So you could see diabetes is a monster. And diabetes, by the way, is a circulatory problem, circulatory disease. And we're going to talk about our technology as it relates to it. Diabetes USA Today said it costs to the US more than wars, disaster like disaster Katrina and so on, more than Iraq and Afghanistan war combined. That's a lot of money. I mean, imagine that. And the number one of cause of death worldwide is cardiovascular disease. Yes, it's no longer cancer. And cancer is already out of control as well. 1 out of 3 people have cancer. Yet in the 50s, we used to have 1 out of 70 in the United States. So as we spend more money, as we advance this technological, scientific methods and so on, we're not really getting the true answer to real health, to real wellness. Something is gone wrong. And hopefully that with this BEMER presentation, you start understanding how the subject kind of dovetail nicely. But let's get a little bit less excited in front of this disclaimer. This is kind of the law of the land, but unfortunately we have to say it because statements have not been evaluated by the FDA or other governmental agencies, and we're not intended with this lecture to diagnose, treat, or cure any medical condition or disease. Please consult your own physician or healthcare provider if you have any medical concern. And if you are under a current regimen, prescription regimen, we are not suggesting to stop your meds. That is a relationship between you and your licensed healthcare professional. That being said, it's an education. And here, talking of education, here's one of my heroes. Thomas Edison, about a century ago, said, the doctor of the future will give no medicine, but will interest his or her patients in the care of the human frame, in diet, and in the cause of prevention of disease. What happened to that wisdom? What happened to that statement? We are clearly a departure from it. And if I add something else, Hippocrates, the father of all modern medicine, he said, let thy food be your medicine and your medicine thy food. It is not certainly the case because America is tuned in toward that prescription drug. And ask yourself, is your health getting any better? So BEMER, it's an established approach to wellness, obviously, because not only we are registered with the medical as a medical device with the FDA, we have 5 international layered patents. These are the toughest patents you could have. We have numerous medical publications. You can find them at pubmed.gov. We have more than 4,000 clinics, hospitals, and universities behind the Project BEMER. It's very exciting. And now we have the validity of the boys in Houston, NASA. Yes, NASA as a government agency they were interested in BEMER specifically for that BEMER signal, which I'll talk about it in a second, because astronauts, when they go in microgravity on the manned space mission, when they come back out of that mission, they come back sick. Yes, S-I-C-K, sick. They come back with all kind of bone loss, muscle atrophy, circadian rhythms out of whack. They have to endure a very specialized and an accelerated 9 to 12 month physical therapy before they put their health back again at par prior to that mission. So NASA was very much interested in BEMER and the general blood flow, which you'll discover in a second. And on March of last year, March 12, 2015, BEMER and NASA entered this Joint Development Agreement Act. And it's an act, it's a cooperative act. We're going to help put this BEMER signal in the spacesuit of astronaut so our astronaut can be healthy too as well. And we're going to find out what NASA does in terms of technology and so on. We can tap into that intelligence. So this is a fantastic, it's a very coveted relationship. As us distributors in the field and practitioners alike, you know, we call that ultimate validation clearly. I mean, those boys at MIT working for NASA, if they respect BEMER, what is it for us to say about that? So it's all good. This whole technology, this whole marvel is coming directly out of a small principality in Europe. It's called Liechtenstein. 35,000 people, the population of Liechtenstein is a small country, independent, nested in the Alps, right by the Rhine River, and it's between Switzerland, Austria, and Germany. And all that is under the leadership of the Gleim family. And at the head of that leadership is Mr. Peter Gleim Sr., the founder. 20 years ago, he had the wherewithal and the vision of getting hold of this technology because he knew that the world will be a better place if everybody got wind of it. But that's 20 years ago. Today, our third generation BEMER, it's something else. It's something of a beauty, which I'll explain in a second. You have his three children there, Pitt Gleim, Nick Gleim, and Stephanie Gleim. They're all sharp. They're all having their own portfolio in terms of do's and don'ts, in terms of market penetration and positioning and so on. It's this BEMER is really held in good hands. And we just came back with a few people from Liechtenstein, spending 9 days with them. And I'm very, very super impressed, not only by their knowledge and by their business savvy and their entrepreneurship, but also by their heart. Because at the end of the day, you need the right people at the helm, is it not? So this is the Gleim family, and those are the one who started 20 years ago. This is their facility, that orange building you see in the background, 90,000 square foot facility with plenty room for expansion. They're very successful. They're debt-free, over than 1 million users worldwide in 40 countries, more than 4,000 doctors, clinic, companies, spas, gyms. As you could see, this is the scorecard. This is the company you keep, folks. This is not somebody going in the basement and inventing something in the last couple of years and said, we have the greatest thing out there. This is a true and tried technology and is quantified by a huge backdrop of empirical study, double-blind clinical study that are all peer-to-peer reviewed and published, and you can access to them as they are public domain. So it's German engineering and Swiss craftsmanship, and as far as engineering, it doesn't get any better than that. So it is a fantastic thing. But let's go back to our health, guys. You probably feel stressed out or feel some discomfort, restless, unfocused, low energy, exhaustion, not any different than the median profile of an everyday patient coming to our clinic. As a matter of fact, the number one complaint in doctors' offices is fatigue. And you know, fatigue from a holistic or TCM, traditional Chinese medicine concept or understanding, or Ayurvedic medicine, being fatigued after a full night's sleep, that means there is something perking up inside of you. And that's what they call the genetic expression and metabolic expression and so on. Maybe something is going to express itself and you might not be pleased with the diagnostic 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road. And maybe, only maybe, your body is starving from a general blood flow. supply of oxygen, supply of nutrient, disposal of waste, cardiac function. This the highlights these guys. This upregulating mechanism is centric to our technology, and this is why this technology is so simple and is so beautiful. And so cause and effect, right? So we get stress, environmental toxin, we get lack of exercise, fast food, life in a fast lane. Stresses and lifestyle and environment gonna affect us. The effect is premature aging, impaired cardiac function, and when that happens, you're gonna experience lack of energy because there is no oxygen, no nutrients, no elimination of waste, and before you know it, guess what happens? You're going to end up by having what's called disease and disorder. Remember, those words are made up with two words. Dis-ease, the body going out of ease. Disorders, the body going out of an order, or a fancy word, going out of homeostasis. So if you look at this iceberg principle that so many of you are familiar with, we look at the tip of the iceberg, but the root cause is all the way at the bottom. From a holistic standpoint, we don't chase the disease, we chase the state of health of every cell, because we know if the cells are good, the tissue is good, the organs are good, the systems are good, then the body is healthy. So when you have low supply of oxygen, low supply of nutrients, low disposal of waste, low cardiac function, and decreased blood flow, and incidentally, the decrease of the blood flow what creates these low supplies of oxygen, nutrient, and low waste removal. When you have all that, obviously you're going to see the symptoms. And so the symptoms, you have a choice now. You can either go and get your BEMER, or you continue the regular route. You know what they say, the definition of insanity. Keep doing what you've been doing for the past 5-10 years and expect different results. And unfortunately, or fortunately for us, like this evening, through education and knowledge with these platforms, with these webinars and these tools, we get in the knowledge and we get in the word out, and this word is traveling at a fast speed. We're telling basically people why living stressed out, why living restless, why experiencing discomfort, why being in focus, why living beside yourself and beside your body, when you can have a readily made solution that this evening some of you can actually start correcting these issues. And by the way, BEMER does not correct anything. It is the body that does. But BEMER is a huge tool in that proposition. In other words, BEMER is factorial within that healing equation. So it's a tool, and it's going to awaken the doctor within, because the body is wise enough to fix itself if you give it the right stuff, right? So we're talking in here about the circulatory system. The body has 13 major systems. You heard probably of the respiratory, the digestive, the reproductive, the endocrine, the musculoskeletal, the metabolic. All these are systems, but one precedes all the other systems, is the circulatory system. In other words, if blood does not flow what is supposed to flow, all the other systems would not function properly, because life is in the blood. And to that extent, every single cell of that 90 to 100 trillion cells in our body are fed and cleansed via capillaries, where nutrients and oxygen are delivered, and toxins, that metabolic cellular breakdown, toxins are eliminated. That's why I said on the onset of this presentation, it's a technology that makes perfect sense. Why it took so long to get created. And listen to this. That circulatory system is actually comprised with three major components. The arteries and the veins, the macro circulation, right? That is only 26%. But the biggest component of that whole entire circulatory is the microvessels, also called the capillaries. Those are the tiny, tiny, tiny small vessels. But if you put them end on end, they create a network as long as 74,000 miles. To show you how powerful those microvessels to carry to the confinement from head to toe, every nook and cranny of your body needs what? Oxygen, nutrients, and also elimination of weight. And so BEMER helps the body create that or regulate that mechanism through that bioenergy that coming out of it, and more on that in a second. So why is it so important? As you lay down 8 minutes on this BEMER, what do you get? You get this good stuff, the good supply, right? The rescue, I call it, to the body. Oxygen and nutrients go directly to the cell, to that capillary, right? From the artery side. And then once that is deposited, then the same thing, those same cells will pick up the waste, the junk, the toxins that break down, that happens in every living seconds while we are awake and even as we sleep. And that's why sleep is very important, so we can regenerate faster. Take all that waste out of what? Out of the vein. And so that process is repeated on every second basis. As a matter of fact, the body has a pump called the heart, and through those macro circulation, the veins and arteries, and then through the microcirculation, the capillaries, that system, over 2,000 gallons of blood is being swished around per day. Imagine that, 8,000 quarts of blood. And yet the body has only 4 to 6 quarts of blood. But those are the same, picking up all the waste, eliminating the waste, enriching itself with oxygen, filtering itself through the liver, and coming back again, depositing the goods, the nutrients and the oxygen, and taking the waste to dispose of it. And that cycle of life is over and over in that circulatory system. And only through that you could have a significantly improved circulation. So that's what we're talking about. This is the subject at hand. And the person who invited you to this presentation is for you to enlighten that conversation of why life is in the blood. The only thing that moves in our body is blood. Of course, the lymphatic fluid. And by the way, speaking of lymphatic fluid, the lymphatic tree is important for detoxification, to show you how nature has put a premium on detoxification. So eliminating toxins is as important, if not more important, than oxygen and nutrients. And so if you have a limited circulatory system, as you could see in the picture on the left, it's bad news. It's a matter of time before the tissues and the cells start complaining, right? And you have a significantly improved circulation, then everything else will be taken care of. And here's a picture of it. This is a poor general blood flow. Watch where the blood hesitating, right? It's just going back and forth, back and forth. It's like stuck together. Look at the better general blood flow. It moves fast. There's a clear difference in here. You don't need to understand anatomy or anything about the human body, but you can see that. Look at them actually, side by side. Look at one is going sluggish. That's poor blood flow. That's a better blood flow. And when you have a better blood flow, what it means? Life is in a rescue. Oxygen galore. Nutrient bioavailability or absorbency of the nutrients, very important cellular level, and then elimination of the waste. And how we accomplish this? We accomplish this by our coveted 5 international patents. Remember that. And NASA is very much interested in this and nothing else. Our signal, the BEMER signal, has 1,200 stimulation peaks per second. It's a multi-dimensional signature of an energy. Multi-dimensional is so unique. It is the only it in the world. Other signals, there's all kind of signals out there. There's all kind of machines in the marketplace that have 300 simulation peaks per second. There's all kind of PMF devices, pulsatile electromagnetic field, but we're not about the coil. We're not about the carrier. We're not even about those sinusoidal, trapezoidal, triangular, sawtooth, square wave, and so on. We are about the BEMER signal. It is so unique, folks, and it's very important. And beyond that, our signal, our claim to fame, and why the body gets so many positive clinical results. And if you are a lay person in this presentation, please pay attention. When you lay down on that mat for the whole entire body and a signal goes through it at a 10 to 30 hertz about, okay, 3.5 to 35 microtesla, very gentle. Mother Earth already gets that kind of energy, so the body is used to that kind of energy. It's a very gentle, subtle field. we have what we call, since 2008, we have invented something called the rhythm giver. And that rhythm giver, it's a huge. Every 20 seconds, we have a spike by intensity 10 all the way to 35 microtesla. Then it settles down. Then it spikes again 5 times. Then it settles down. Then it spikes down. Every 20 seconds, you have that spike. And what we found out empirically, and our scientists, what they found out, and Dr. Klopp, when you do have that rhythm giver, you have a better physiological response. In other words, the body responds to it, and the body likes it, period. As a matter of fact, the body will recognize it as a song. When you listen to a radio and you're interested in listening to your type of favorite music, you're not interested by the other music that's coming out of the radio, is it not? You're interested in a specific thing. Let's say, as an example, if you like classical music, right? If you listen to any other type of music, it won't do no good. You are interested in classical because that suits you, because that creates a psychological response, make you feel good, make you feel whole, right? And whatever music your style is, I just picked classical music out of the blue there. But that analogy lends itself. So we're not about the radio as a PMF, guys. We're not even about the wave that's coming out of the radio. We are talking about specific song. So the signal is the song and the intensity is the volume. And boy, that song, as you lay your body on top of the mat, the body start creating that general blood flow. In other words, opening all the vessels to have an unrestricted flow of blood. And when that happens, the body will know with its infinite wisdom how to do with that supply of oxygen galore, nutrients at the cellular level. It goes all the way inside the mitochondria. The body will know what to do with it, and then elimination of waste. And that is achieved only in literally 8 minutes. Imagine that. Then we have a sleep program to die for. And we have compared all the other devices, okay? And what we found out empirically, this is an objective comparison, we found out actually that BEMER, with all the parameters that we measured, it wasted away all the other competitors. And if you go back in here, here they are, from the Magnetarium, Pulsar, Terra Magnum, CentiPlus, IMRS, all of those are just PEMF devices, nothing more, nothing less. By the way, PMF device, nothing to, there is no fame to it. It's an old technology, 20, 30-year-old technology. NASA is not interested in 20 to 30-year-old technology. They're interested in the signal. They're interested in those characteristic change for their astronauts. And that's what they wanted. And if you notice, on the 4th day, they shut down all the devices on the 3rd day under the influence of their respective signals. And BEMER still at the highest on the 4th day, measuring residual effect, that 12% in all parameters across the board, then the highest influence of those machines. So clearly, guys, we're not about PMF. PMF is just a carrier. Like I mentioned, the radio, you can buy many radios, right? You can buy a radio out of plastic, a radio made out of wood, a radio made out of aluminum. You can have a radio actually on your smartphone, on your tablet. It's not about the radio. It's about the signal, okay? And so in here, you could see that improved signal over the years, and generation 3.0 came out in 2010. That gives you a whopping 27% in characteristic change that will last 12 hours. More stimulus, specific frequency variation along a specific timeline. It is the rhythm giver signal. And folks, that is what makes this technology so appealing, and so many people coming from the woodwork. The word start going out there because people are getting results. You know, at the end of the day, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And the proof is always in the pudding, is it not? So when people lay down and they get all this kind of results, that's at the end of the day what they're interested in. And here's the genius behind it, okay? This is Dr. Professor Rainier Klopp. He's an MD, a physicist. He's a professor. He's the founder of the Institute of Microcirculation in Berlin, Germany. He was commissioned years ago by the German government to do a research on microcirculation for the German geriatric population, the elderly. And it's very exciting. And in his own word, he said, BEMER is the most effective and widely researched physical therapy method available today. And that's that's huge, guys. And by the way, all these scientific articles and so on, all these empirical studies, you can find them as a public domain. Go to pubmed.gov, just type in BEMER, BEMER, and type in Dr. Klopp, and you're going to see some of that research. So in terms of hardware and devices, we have two of them. This is the BEMER Classic. It's really a stripped down version, and it costs $40 to $90. It does not have the B light. It does not have the B pad. It's missing something. So it's a stripped down version, like I mentioned. But the most beautiful one, and most of the sales are geared toward this one, which is the BEMER Professional Set. In short, we call it the BEMER Pro. It's simple and easy to use, 10 intensity, 3 programs. It has a gorgeous sleep program. Oh my gosh, that sleep program is worth every penny of this device alone. And then the B-Light program, and that's another excitement. That's another industry in it and by itself. We'll talk about in a second. Here's the B-Light. So as you could see, all the stuff that comes in a set, and that's for a mere $5,990. Why I said a mere $5,990, you have to understand. I'm in the healthcare field, and health is not cheap. Trust me. People shell out thousands of dollars just in the promise and in the hope we can, Dr. Tobias, can put them together whole again. Health is not cheap. No, no, no. It is not cheap. So $5,990, when I discovered that price about 8-9 months ago, I was beside myself. I said, wow, this is absolutely amazing. And then when I start getting results on myself, on my partner, on our patient, this is definitely cheap. It comes back to about around $1.60 a day. Imagine that, right? So 3-year warranty, lifetime system update, user technical hotline, and over 1 million BEMER users. Like this gentleman that is smiling, grinning. Of course, he's grinning. Oxygen is in, nutrient inside the cell, and elimination of waste, right, to the kidney and to the colon. And he's getting his full body therapy. There's also localized application you could put on for stress and for musculoskeletal around your neck and so on. It gives you all kind of relief. Then we have the B-Sit that originally was designed for wheelchair-bound folks, and you can use it as driver or people working on a computer or truck driver or bus driver, whatever, right? It's very simple to use. We have the B-Spot for targeted application. So we have everything. The B-Light is absolutely amazing for skin irritation, but more importantly, for youthful look. And if you have a youthful look, that means you have the absence of any problem to the skin. Fill in the blanks, guys. What is the problem with your skin is contrary to a youthful look skin. So by using the BEMER light, this nanochromatic light with a BEMER signal laced into it, 660 power, it goes 4 to 5 millimeter under the skin, and it'll correct the skin of many imperfections and irritations. And our friend, our quadruped friend, loved that too. Okay, by the way, they don't get invited. Turn on the device and they show up to the party. They lay there by the BEMER because animals are very sensitive to that subtle field of energy, almost smarter than us, right? Guardian angels of animals. We have many people that tell the story. We have attracted the rich and famous and just the famous, like Linda Tellington Jones, that started the Tellington Tea Touch. She was the original horse whisperer. She's all over BEMER as an ambassador of BEMER. And in her own words, she said, BEMER Vet is a must-have product for those who want the very best for their animals. And guess what? We go into a whole different area. And who knows what this will give us down the road in terms of diversification of products, of industries, and so on. Because nature, to be honest with you, have also a circulatory situation. And you could see here the BEMER affect the growth. This is within a lab. We've done a test. We put some plants, and they grown much taller, much faster, much cleaner, with much burgeoning, much greener, much stronger with the influence of the BEMER signal versus without. So there is more story to be told in the years ahead, and who knows where this is going to take us in that agronomy. We have many references, folks. Actresses, movie stars, musicians. We have sports reference galore. I mean, a lot of famous people and a lot of clubs, individual or clubs, are start coming into around BEMER because the word is going out. We have a lot of medical cooperation from many universities. We have cooperation of agencies. We have awards. We have won many, many awards. And we are registered with the FDA, the MDC, the ANVISA. You know, this is the scorecard, guys. So this is a class 2 in Europe. It's used in hospitals, neo-intensive care units. It's used in ambulances for heart attack and post-stroke patients. Okay, in here in the United States, it's used as a class 1. We are registered and we are seeking the class 2 classification by the FDA. So it is a serious device. Now we have the sports. Okay, FC Milan, those of you who are in soccer will know that club from Italy is all over BEMER, such as Boris Becker, a tennis legend, about Peter Smith from USC. I mean, some of these people you recognize. How about Adidas in their mountain biking competition? All these guys, these athletes, these competitive athletes are getting BEMERized. Makes perfect sense, right? Dropping out all that lactic acid and regenerating their cells. How about Mark Girardelli? Mark Girardelli is a very famous. Look at him in Google. He's our BEMER Sports ambassador. Many, many, many sports figures in here. So we received many awards, as I mentioned. It's a very tight engineering. It's a beautiful engineering with a Swiss craftsmanship. Doesn't get any better than this. Are you kidding me? The German and the Swiss, right? They roll out great product. They have that long-standing tradition. So as we wrap up in here, you know, it's what's ironic. We spend all our life, you know, chasing our businesses, our career, claiming, you know, that climbing the corporate ladder at the detriment of our health. And then gladly in our second chapter of our lives, what do? We spend all our wealth chasing our health. We get it all backwards, I suppose. And that is by Voltaire. It's a French philosopher. This was said about 200 years ago. Imagine that. Oh, humans sometimes have a hard time understanding and applying things. But hopefully this makes sense to you guys, because in conclusion, this is what we're looking for. We're looking for a powerful device, a holistic device out of the convenience and comfort of your own home, your privacy of your own home, where you can actually enhance your supply and disposal of better blood and nutrients and elimination of waste. And that will spell out in all kind of regulatory mechanism where you can have better concentration, better cardiac function, better physical fitness, better performance, sleep management, better virility, may I say. That's a big problem in America because of all the stresses and diabetes and obesity and high blood pressure. Better relaxation, better anti-aging measures. I mean, imagine that. And you're laying down 8 minutes right there on that BEMER. So maybe growing old is a requirement, is mandatory, but growing young and feeling young is optional. And today, folks, those of you who are here for the first time, you have that option. You can continue the course as you always did, your ways of doing things, right? And maybe you are happy with the results. But if you are not happy with your wellness, if you are not happy with that health card, maybe you should consider strongly this, because going full trust, this is not a new product to Tobias Healing Institute. We use it for 8 months. And let me tell you, folks, I would love to share with every single one of you the results, the chart of all the patients. The results are absolutely amazing. So with full confidence, invest in it, and you'll be glad that you did. And so with that, I'm going to pass the microphone to my co-host and co-organizer, Mr. George Veronis, and he will take it away And hang on, I will do this right now. Where are you, Mr. Veronis? I lost you there. Okay.
I'm here. I'm just waiting for the screen.
Yes, there's something I cannot see in here. Sorry,
You want me
folks.
to grab it?
Yeah, grab it, of course. Of course, grab it.
I think
Thank you, folks,
you
for
have.
listening.
I can't grab it. Go ahead. You're gonna have to grab it. You have
Here
to
we
give it to
go.
me.
It's yours. I passed it to you. Sorry about the technical
Okay.
difficulty. Go ahead, George.
Yes. What do you see right now?
I see the short break. You got to move the
Okay.
slide.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay. I'll move on. So anyway, Yusuf, thanks a lot. A lot of great information, and I hope out of that presentation there, you guys got a really good feel for how solid the company is, and of course, how solid the product is. And as we say, we're not on our trial. We've been doing this for 17 years. It's a little new to the United States, but we're going to have just a tremendous time sharing this with other people, really changing the lives and health of other people. So with that, there is a opportunity to this, where we're looking for partners and distributors around the country. As he mentioned earlier, there's over 12,000 partners over in Europe, and we have maybe a couple thousand, the most, here in the United States. And we're mostly in California, Florida, a couple of the southern states, very little around the country. So if you're looking to share this with other people, there's usually three options here. Number one, you just want to get your product paid for, by referring people. Number two, you want to do a part-time income out of it. Or number three, you want to create a new career for yourself. Is the opportunity huge? Well, as they say in this quote, as they age, America's 78 million baby boomers will live more active, creative, inventive lives than any generation before them. This represents a truly enormous business opportunity. So if you ever read this book, Turning Silver into Gold, How to Profit in the New...
George, sorry to interrupt you.
Yes.
I don't see the slide moving.
What slide are you on?
The short break.
Well, maybe you never gave me the presentation. You
Now,
never gave it. You have to do it.
Now go ahead.
Okay, go ahead. Go to the next one. You're going to have to do it.
Okay.
Let me see. Yep.
Just try it.
Okay, so anyway, our goal is, I got it. Okay, our goal is a BEMER in every home. And here's basically the vision. And then, the whole idea is to be your own boss. What are the benefits? You have unlimited income potential, flexible hours, independence, work for yourself, and huge, huge difference, that you'll make in people's lives. And the company is really about heart. We're not out here trying to pitch people and sell people. We're here to share this opportunity with them. So let me see if I really do. Okay, so the easiest way to market BEMER is sharing it with other people, which I just mentioned, and the team will organically grow. This is a powerful slide because this is a statistic after 17 years. Those that buy the BEMER that never even do the business, over 60% of them will share at least 3 to 5 referrals with you for doing that. So that's pretty amazing. So if we take care of our customer, we'll do a good job there on that part. How do you get started? It's easy. You purchase the BEMER. You sign up as an independent distributor. It's $390, but $200 of that is the academy, which I'll talk about in a second. You share the BEMER with others, and you help your other distributors become BEMER distributors. That's the way you go. What I like about this model, it's not one of those network marketing models, and I'm going to show you that. As far as purchasing it, there's several options. The classic Yusuf mentioned with the membership is $46.80 plus the membership with tax. Or you can buy our gold packages, our most popular. It's $63.80 with tax plus the membership. And sometimes a chiropractor or somebody wants more than one unit for their office and home, we do give an additional discount of 15% and so forth. So we have a lot of neat packages, and the person that got you on will share them with you a little bit more. The price, people always say to me, what's the cost? And, of course, our normal response is, you want to know the price of what it costs if you don't get it or if you do get it. The reality of it is, this is your health, this is your investment. It's a 10-year, at least a 10-year product usage. And if you just break that down per month, that comes out to what, $40, $50 a month, maybe $1.60 in that example per day. So remember, if people spend $50 for nutritional products or trying to detox their body, and they might have 2 or 3 people using it in the family, you understand how expensive it gets. This is very inexpensive for a medical device for what it's going to do to your health. You know, attend an academy. What that meant is that when you do pay that $200, I'm going to one tomorrow in St. Pete. You have to go to an academy where we spend 2 full days training you on the product, the science, how to sell it, the marketing, the whole bit. So I'll end it with this. You know, I like to show this as a direct sale model, and there's 3 aspects of it. You can go out and just share this with others and earn anywhere from 17 to 25%. On your first 4 sales, it's 17%. Anytime you sell over that, it's 25%. So it's $1,000 to $1,500 approximately potential income. So think, if you go out and share this with 5 or 6 people and 3 or 4 buy, you realize that's a $50,000 to $75,000 a year income just on your own efforts of sharing this with others. Now, we do have 2 affiliate tiers, they call them. On the first tier, if someone does decide to go share it that you introduce us to, you make 8%, which is $480 on the first tier. And if they share it with someone, it's $180 to you. So if you just look at that example, and all you want to do locally is have 3 or 4 or 5 reps and train them and go out and share this product, and everybody's doing 3 or 4 sales a month, you're probably looking at you know, 100,000 plus income to share one of the most phenomenal medical devices probably ever created, you know, in the country. So that's what 90% of the people do. I will tell you, we do have management positions called group leader and team manager. And for those that want to help educate people, help train people, do some of these academies, we give you anywhere from a 1.5% bonus to a 3%, all the way up to 4 to 5% extra bonus to train big organizations as you grow them. And a lot of us are doing that. You know, I started this in July. I went in as a direct sales rep. I made 3 or 4 sales a month. I then created some people wanted to do it with me, and I had about 10 to 15 reps. And now that's grown to over 450 sales reps throughout the country, sharing this opportunity with me as I'm here in California and going to Florida tomorrow. So it's a very lucrative career, too, if that's what you want to do. So you have part-time effort, career effort, or just refer some people and pay for your unit. So with that, you know, I love this quote by Zig Ziglar: you will get all you want in life if you help enough people get what they want in life. And that's what Yusuf and I are doing. We're really traveling the country, sharing the message, educating people, making sure that they know what they're doing to get out there and share it. So just to end it, you heard about a great product, you heard about a great company, a phenomenal opportunity. You get back to the person that got you on this call, let them know what other information you need from any of those 3 aspects. Or if you want to get started, go ahead and order the BEMER, get it into your home right away, start using it. Just like me with my open heart surgery, it's made a huge difference in my life, and I'm glad I had the opportunity to see it and share it with others. So, Yusuf, thank you, and all you on the phone, thanks a lot. And we do this call every Wednesday evening. We aren't doing the Thursday during the day anymore because we're all traveling too much. So we'll see you next week. Thanks, Yusuf.
Thank you.